The world of the paranormal, a place shrouded in mystery, where shadows dance and whispers echo. Are you brave enough to venture in? Reddit, a digital campfire where people gather to share stories. Some stories are true, some are too true. These are those stories. These tales are not for the faint of heart. They are raw, chilling accounts of the unexplained. They will stay with you long after you finish reading. Proceed with caution. You are about to enter a world beyond your wildest fears. One Reddit user told a story that chilled me to the bone, a story about their childhood home, a home with a dark secret. The user described an old, damp basement. The air was always heavy, thick with dread. The user felt a presence there, something evil. One night the user heard a noise, a low growl coming from the basement. Their blood ran cold. Fear paralyzed them. They never went down those stairs again, not alone, not at night. Another tale spoke of an apartment with a strange energy. The walls seemed to hum with an unseen force. Whispers seemed to emanate from the very walls themselves. The tenant would hear voices, whispers just on the edge of understanding. They couldn't make out the words, but the tone sent chills down their spine. One night the whispering escalated. It turned into a cacophony of voices, angry and menacing. The tenant fled the apartment. They left everything behind. They never returned. A chilling tale emerged from the depths of Reddit, a place where countless stories are shared, some mundane, others deeply unsettling. This particular story was about a lone driver navigating a desolate highway, a stretch of road that seemed to go on forever, with nothing but the dim glow of the car's headlights piercing through the encroaching darkness. As the driver continued, a figure slowly emerged in the distance, barely visible through the thickening fog that clung to the road like a shroud. It was a young woman standing by the side of the road, her face etched with distress and desperation, clearly in need of a ride. The driver, moved by a sense of compassion and perhaps a touch of curiosity, decided to stop. He reached over and unlocked the car door, inviting her in. The woman got in, her demeanor quiet and withdrawn, as if she carried the weight of the world on her shoulders. She settled into the passenger seat, her eyes avoiding the driver's gaze. As they drove through the dark, eerie landscape, she spoke softly, her voice barely above a whisper. She mentioned a town up ahead, a place she desperately needed to reach. The driver saw the road sign indicating the town, its distant lights flickering like beacons of hope in the vast darkness. But as they approached the turnoff to the town, the driver glanced to the side and realized, with a jolt of shock, that the passenger seat was empty. The woman had vanished without a trace. He looked back, his heart pounding, but there was no sign of her. The road behind them was empty, shrouded in an eerie silence. The driver was left in stunned silence, his mind racing to make sense of what had just happened. Had he imagined the entire encounter? Was it a figment of his tired mind? He rubbed his eyes in disbelief, glancing repeatedly in the rearview mirror, half expecting to see her reappear. But the mirror reflected only the empty dark road behind him. The driver couldn't shake the feeling that he had encountered something truly unexplainable, something that defied the boundaries of reality. The road ahead seemed even more foreboding, cloaked in a mysterious fog that hinted at secrets best left undiscovered. The haunted hospital bed. A chilling account surfaced from a former hospital worker. They described a particular bed, always ice cold. Patients complained of nightmares and cold whispers. The worker, initially skeptical, felt a chill as they approached the bed. The air grew heavy, an oppressive feeling settled over them. One night the worker saw it, a shadowy figure hovering over the bed. Its eyes glowed with an eerie light. The worker fled in terror. The bed remained a source of fear and mystery, a chilling reminder of the unseen world. The unseen guest. A family's dream home became a nightmare. Strange occurrences plagued their lives. Footsteps echoed in the hallway at night. Objects moved on their own. The family, initially disbelieving, couldn't ignore the growing evidence. Doors slammed shut, lights flickered, the temperature dropped without reason. One night the family cat went berserk. It hissed at something unseen, its fur standing on end. The family knew then, they were not alone. Their home, once a sanctuary, had become a prison of fear. The haunted antique. A Reddit user shared a chilling tale about an antique mirror they had recently acquired. It was a beautiful piece, ornate and ancient, with intricate designs that seemed to tell a story of their own. But beneath its beauty, the mirror held a dark energy that was palpable to anyone who came near it. The user described an unsettling feeling of being watched whenever they were near the mirror, as if unseen eyes were following their every move. Their reflection in the mirror seemed to hold a sinister gaze, one that was not their own, but something far more malevolent. Soon, strange occurrences began to plague their home. Objects would move on their own, and shadows would dart across the room, always in the periphery of their vision. One night, the user awoke to a blood-curdling scream that seemed to echo through the house. It was a sound so chilling, it froze them in their tracks. In a state of panic, they rushed to the mirror, feeling an inexplicable pull towards it. In its reflection, they saw a horrifying figure, a ghostly apparition that seemed to be trapped within the glass, staring back at them with hollow eyes. It was then that the user realized the terrifying truth. The mirror was not just an antique, it was a conduit for something far more sinister. The mirror seemed to have a dark aura, an energy that was both captivating and repulsive. It was a portal to another realm, a gateway that allowed spirits to cross over into our world. The user knew they had to get rid of it, but the mirror's hold on them was strong. They tried to cover the mirror with a cloth, hoping to block its sinister influence, but the eerie glow seemed to seep through undeterred. Desperate for answers, the user began researching haunted objects and discovered that mirrors have long been believed to be portals to other dimensions. They even consulted a paranormal expert, who confirmed their worst fears. The mirror was indeed a gateway, and it needed to be dealt with carefully. With the expert's guidance, the user prepared to dispose of the mirror, wrapping it carefully in a cloth imbued with protective symbols. They drove to a remote location far from their home to ensure that the mirror's dark energy would not return. In a secluded area, they buried the mirror deep in the ground, hoping to seal its dark power forever. As they walked away from the burial site, they felt a sense of relief but also a lingering caution, knowing that some things are better left undisturbed. Back at home, the spot where the mirror once stood remained empty, a silent reminder of the dark presence that had once haunted their lives. Some antiques are better left untouched, for they carry with them the echoes of a past best forgotten. The face in the window. One Reddit user shared a chilling experience that shook them to their core. They were home alone, the house shrouded in darkness. A storm raged outside, the wind howling through the trees, and the rain pelting against the windows like tiny, relentless fists. As they glanced out the window, they noticed something unsettling. The lightning illuminated the yard intermittently, casting eerie shadows that danced and flickered. A face stared back at them. It was not just any face, but one that seemed to emerge from the very darkness itself. A pale, gaunt face with eyes filled with malice. The eyes were dark, almost hollow, and they seemed to bore into the user's soul. The user froze, their heart pounding in their chest. They could feel the cold sweat forming on their forehead, their breath coming in shallow gasps. The face remained, its gaze unwavering. It was as if time had stopped, and the world outside the window ceased to exist. It seemed to be etched into the glass itself. The rain streaked down the window, distorting the features but never fully obscuring them. The user never forgot that night. They would often find themselves staring at that same window, hoping to never see that face again. The memory of that face haunted their dreams. Night after night, they would wake up in a cold sweat. The image of those piercing eyes burned into their mind. Even during the day, the window seemed to hold a sinister presence. The user would avoid looking directly at it, fearing that the face might reappear. They shared their experience with friends and family, but no one could offer a reasonable explanation. Some suggested it was a trick of the light, others thought it might have been a figment of their imagination. Desperate for answers, the user turned to the internet, diving into forums and websites dedicated to the paranormal. They found similar stories, but none that could fully explain what they had seen. In their search, they came across old photographs of the house and its previous occupants. One image in particular caught their eye, a portrait of a man with the same gaunt face and piercing eyes. The realization hit them like a ton of bricks. The face in the window was not just a random apparition, it was the spirit of someone who had once lived in the house. Determined to find peace, the user decided to perform a cleansing ritual. They lit candles, burned sage, and recited prayers, hoping to rid their home of the malevolent presence. After the ritual, the house felt different. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, and the user no longer felt the weight of those haunting eyes. Though the memory of that night still lingered, the user finally felt a sense of relief. They could look out the window without fear, knowing that the face in the window was gone for good. The unexplained disappearance. A chilling tale emerged from a small town. A person had vanished without a trace, gone without a word, leaving behind all their belongings. The community was baffled. Searches yielded no answers. The missing person's loved ones were left in a state of agonizing uncertainty. Some whispered about a supernatural explanation. A portal, they said, had opened and swallowed the missing person whole. The truth remained elusive. The mystery of their disappearance lingered, a chilling reminder of the unknown. The Shadow Man. One Reddit user described a recurring nightmare. A shadowy figure lurking in the corner of their room. Its eyes glowed with an eerie red light. The figure never spoke, but its presence was enough to send shivers down their spine. The user would wake up in a cold sweat, their heart racing. One night, the user woke up to a strange feeling. They felt a presence in the room. As they turned to face the corner, they saw it. The Shadow Man from their dreams was standing in their room. The Cursed Object. A user found an antique music box. They brought it home, unaware of its dark history. The music box emitted a haunting melody that sent shivers down their spine. Soon, strange occurrences began. Objects moved on their own. Whispers echoed through the house. The user felt a cold presence. One night, the music box began to play on its own. The melody was distorted, filled with an eerie static. The user realized their terrifying mistake. They had brought a cursed object into their home. The Haunted Woods. Local legends spoke of a haunted forest, a place where the trees whispered secrets and shadows moved with a life of their own. Hikers told chilling tales of strange encounters. One group of friends decided to venture into the woods. They were met with an oppressive silence. The air grew heavy, thick with dread. As they ventured deeper, they heard a twig snap. They turned, their hearts pounding in their chests. But they saw nothing. They were being watched. The Ghostly Apparition. One Reddit user shared a bone-chilling encounter. They were exploring an abandoned asylum, its walls filled with echoes of suffering. The air was heavy with despair. As they rounded a corner, they saw a figure, a woman in a white gown, her face pale and sorrowful. She stood at the end of the hallway, watching them. The user froze, their breath catching in their throat. The figure shimmered for a moment and then vanished into thin air. They were left shaken to their core, forever haunted by the ghostly apparition. Conclusion: a world of mysteries. These stories, shared from the depths of Reddit, offer a glimpse into the unknown. They remind us that there are things in this world that we cannot explain. Are these tales just products of overactive imaginations, or do they point to a reality beyond our understanding? Perhaps the answers lie hidden in the shadows. Perhaps they are not meant to be found. One thing is certain: the world is a stranger, more mysterious place than we often realize.